Well, the panel said that they were Team Dragons. I think what they actually meant was Team Wyverns anyway. But we've got King Gaming versus Na'Vi. Blitz, you heard the analysts talk about it ad nauseum. What do you think about the draft?
I actually kind of like Keen's draft. I feel like they can start fights, which is really important. So can Na'Vi, but I think Na'Vi's much more reliant on having a good laning phase because I feel like a lot of their heroes can't play quick. Like Wyvern is I think, sort of like a slower defensive counter initiation sort of hero. Same with heroes like Darkseer. Like Darkseer Earth Spirit is a really strong lane combo, but like if you can neuter that and shut it down or slow it down, like it becomes really not scary because they're both like non-damage dealing heroes, and more importantly, it's like heroes like Darkseer need farm. Heroes like Templar Assassin need farm. Like you have a bunch of heroes that just need a prerequisite amount of farm before they get online. Like that's usually, guys, when we say in professional Dota, when we talk about pro Dota terms like fast versus slow heroes, it usually means the ability to fight without spells, or you know, like having low cooldowns, or like only needing like drums plus phase boots to be really scary on the map.
Yeah, you're AD mage who needs Battle Fury, Manta,
He is a slow hero.
item. That's the definition of a slow
like
hero,
Spectre.
because he literally just can't fight for you.
Whereas like Gyrocopter or Juggernaut, those kinds of cores are considered fast heroes because spell-wise they're just strong.
Now, it's not like Keen don't have their own problems, though, when it comes to needing farm. You've got a Tidehunter as well as an OD, and you've told me plenty of times that when you play this Tidehunter, this is a hero that needs to be able to farm constantly.
Yeah, it's like a really weird thing. I think I just prefer it because I feel like Lion plus Lion Ench can make a lot of space.
Okay.
I don't know, it's just some weird feeling that I get.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like, you say Na'Vi need to have a strong laning phase, but this is definitely the kind of setup where you should be able to, right? You've got the Earth Spirit Darkseer duo, which really should just be fine here. You've got Monkey King in a lane matchup against a melee offlaner. And then, I don't know how the TA-OD matchup goes.
I think it's okay for both sides. Like,
yeah,
it's a pretty good skill matchup, actually. Because obviously as OD, you can't straight up kill TA. Yeah. And both of them have a really good farming mechanism. Like, OD can astral you, but at the same time, like, TA out damages you. It's sort of annoying as TA because in the early levels with just like the one side blades, you actually just get outranged, and typically astral's really good against these like really low melee heroes or something like that, or low attack range.
Oh, potentially early kill here as Misha steps out of position. You gotta be careful with the early Tidehunter. I feel like that's one of the changes from the Tidehunter of old, is that this newer Tidehunter is quite dangerous in the laning phase with all the minus armor.
By the way, too, that, oh man, I felt like Crystallize should have gotten the last hit on that. I will say that Old 11 is one of the people that I see do this build the most.
Yeah.
Going for the surprise level of Gush. I think they do that a lot when they do the Shaman lane. I think Keen does that lane a lot. Remember we saw at WESG?
Yeah.
It would do Shaman Tidehunter. He would get the first level of Gush. You wouldn't anticipate it. I think it was against a Monkey King too. Like all the conditions are pretty much the same. And Lion like fulfills a lot of the same things that the Shaman does. Like you're able to outdistance the Monkey King, and by going boots first, it makes it even easier for you to get into these like straight up harass wars.
Yeah. I legit think that it's just the wrong play 9 times out of 10 to go Anchor Smash first now. If you're running a dual lane, I've just seen too many Tidehunters at this point. Like I know Brax has done it before as well, where he goes Gush first, and it looks so good harassment wise.
It's 110 damage for 90 mana. Like in terms of the one-to-one interaction, it's quite worth. You see Blizzy at bottom lane pulling the creep wave, but the benefit of Old Chicken in this lane, and I guess why I was like so for Keen's lineup, is like Old Chicken doesn't care about any of these pull shenanigans. Jug has really good base armor, especially under the tower. You have good attack damage with Quelling Blade, so it's really hard. Like your animation feels really good, so it's just really hard for you to miss last hits. They can't really kill, but he can just sort of static farm, which is exactly what he's doing. You know, he's got 16-2, and Blizzy actually just dies to some right clicks from Enchantress.
Yeah. I mean, part of that is the fact that Enchantress, I guess, is going to be kind of a counter to this Darkseer because he can't just surge away.
Yeah.
Right? He just gets dispelled.
I mean, he was at a really low range, too.
Yeah.
That was a little bit scary, as Dark is going to pull the wave off.
Top lane, slowing down Old 11, trying to get those stacks up once again. Kaka managed to prevent the Jingu stacks for Crystallize, and he is very low on regen, so.
How do you like Monkey as a hero? Like, I know when it comes to offlaners playing against Monkey Kings, in a one-to-one matchup, it's probably the most annoying in the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like I probably hate like Morphling a little bit more, but
It's like really high base.
yeah,
denies
just
everything.
because how much he denies from me. But when it comes to like the obnoxious level of him just running at me and getting Jingu stacks, it's awful. But as a dual lane, I actually very much like playing against Monkey King
Yeah.
because people have realized that like Jingu is good. Yeah, it's a strong ability, but at the same time, like if you just dual lane against him and you harass him a bunch, he actually does not recover that well.
I completely agree with that assessment. Almost
This isn't the old
100%.
Monkey King where he was getting like 1 billion lifesteal and 1 billion damage level 1 Jingu. Oh, that's going to be Yi. He's going to be falling here, looks like. Unless Chu actually doesn't get him. Oh, no. Now he's going to turn around and get the healing salve imprisonment. And now he is definitely dead. What a turnaround. I thought for sure he was going to die there. Does our Earth Spirit not have... He doesn't have Orb of Venom.
They do lose
the
old
reason why.
11 as a result of this, but you know, this is like the old 11 trap card. He wants to die inside.
Yeah.
Real me IRL.
Old 11 is fearless when it comes to dying, and that is actually what kind of makes him...
When Underlord is back in Dota 2, swear to God, Keen's winning TI. on my life, Keen's winning TI. If Underlord ever comes back, that man can die 14 times in a row, and he you know, he's just like, you fools, I'll come back stronger.
Man, Dark is making this Enchantress. You know, I was a little skeptical of it just because I was like, yeah, sure, you can purge off the Ion Shell, but this isn't like Oracle levels of purge, right? You can't get the 2-for-1. I got both the Ion Shells. I'm stopping the pull shenanigans, but he's making it look pretty good. Like, he keeps on dispelling the Earth Spirit whenever he has Ion Shell on him, and it's just kind of neutering the lane. All that offensive power of it. The roll lane, trying to save. Is he going to be able to kick the TA back to safety? He does. Magical
Wow, well
will be able
done.
to get away. Really well played by Chu. Kaka still going for the kill onto Chu, while everybody else on his team of Keen did not have the same kind of faith in that support kill, apparently.
Yeah, there's going to be a regen, though, that spawns up at top lane, which Kaka will take. And you see old 11's build, by the way, completely foregoing the Kraken Shell.
Yeah. Just all-out damage.
You a fan?
I think it's the right idea against Monkey King.
Yeah, because your Kraken Shell doesn't actually do that much. It's
Yeah.
not that useful.
But at the same time, I guess like he's no longer dual lane. So, you know.
He is level 6, though. Like this guy is getting a lot of XP relative to what he should. Blizzy, for example, who's a Darkseer, which I figured like he'd have an easier time since the kill combo is in there, is only level 5. He hasn't gotten as much out of this lane as I think this Tide has. Like, Tide for a second was second in CS. He does have a kill. In mid lane,
think
she's
he'll-
just going to roll.
Definitely one Kraken Shell by 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're going to start getting into teamfight territory.
Well,
and
is there
he
like anything
wants
that like
cleanse.
a silence?
He wants that cleanse against Earth Spirit for sure.
Yeah. Top lane. 11's got to be careful here. He doesn't know it, but Chu's up here. He's placed 2 different wards, one in the mid lane to spot the rotation of the line coming up and around, which I think is really smart. So like, if you're going to force any sort of movement up to here, you're going to have to smoke.
This is like, typically I feel like it's one of the most dangerous time for offlaners. People sometimes get fooled into thinking like, oh, look at all this farm that's pushing into me. But the truth is, like, good teams are always looking to dive you at that point. When the
Yeah.
siege wagon's pushing into the tower and there's a big creep wave, they don't want to let you farm that.
Well, the cool part about it is that, oh, in mid lane, hold that thought, is another kick onto Magical to save him. And it's going to work 2 times out of 2 as TP's going to fly in from Kaka up to this top lane. They want to try to go on to Crystallize. Kaka actually out of mana, does have the stick charges, but Crystallize going to hop into the trees, into safety. Kind of just playing around. Old 11, chances one of the trees does not get the timber.
I love that. Old 11 was really fast about trying to get a Quelling Blade on the tree, but Crystallized also knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, so he
just popped-
switched.
He popped out of the tree as quick as possible.
You see, by the way, this ward that they place up at top lane is Crystallize in position. Gonna get stunned up, but Old 11 out of mana, quite low. Does not have Ravage leveled up quite yet. I think he's... I'm not really sure why he's saving the point. I feel like, you know, you're probably gonna get it. Like you should.
I mean, I guess in like this situation like right now where he's low mana and being gone on, like maybe he levels
Last second
Kraken.
Kraken? I mean, he's gonna
guess.
die.
I don't know, man.
Old 11 wild.
Old 11 is he's a wild man for sure.
Yeah, but in this game, like, especially like Pro Dota, your ward vision is gonna usually tell you like where the majority of the attention is gonna be focused.
Yeah.
So for example, like placing this ward up at top, placing this ward at mid, for Na'Vi tells you like they're trying to get this. They were trying to get that tier 1 tower up at top with the Monkey King Siege Wave, but not being able to do so makes this ward like a little bit harder to play around, and that's why Old Chicken feels comfortable just staying in this bottom lane. The best part about having Jug on your team, by the way, or Jug or Lifestealer, is that they can stay past the 8-minute mark in their safe lane. Like they feel really safe. Whereas like you see Crystallize, he'll cut in, cut out, because he's kind of afraid. Like he doesn't want the 2 supports to rotate up here and kill him.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's concerned about. Whereas, you know, Old Chicken can't die. Like there's actually no way to really stop him unless the Wyvern comes down and curses him. But the Wyvern is only level 4, so there's no way to break his spin TP. So anytime the Jug has spin TP, you know, he's completely safe.
Yeah. It would have to be like some sort of really weird combination of like boundless strike, rolling boulder, silence.
Yeah.
Like it would just be like one of those.
That's why I want you guys to focus on the wards. That's why they don't place a safe lane ward for themselves. They have one here in this jungle, but this is more for the OD than it is. This is more for the OD than it is for the Juggernaut.
Right.
Like the fact that they've left their Jug blind usually tells you like how they prioritize things. Is bottom lane. Old Chicken gonna drop the healing ward just in case, as Blizzy should go down here. Free kill for them onto this core Darkseers. The hasted up Old 11.
Slowed down on Chu. He's trying to make sure he can stop the rolling boulder, but a good play by Chu, kicking the Tidehunter away.
The same thing though isn't true for Crystallize. Like because he can get pressured, they place down this ward so they can spot the rotation up. Like you sort of anticipated at some point, like, but I think Old Chicken is okay with this trade because nobody's in his lane. So that's how the usually like the ward interaction works. Like why you will ward for certain safe laners, like why you prioritize like the vision that you have, and it usually tells you where you're gonna play around.
Radiant structures are fortified.
So at what point does Old Chicken start moving out of lane? Is it just different every single game?
Yeah.
Sometimes you stick around if everything's going
lane.
okay. Dark's gonna get
These are
pushed
some
back.
nice kicks.
Chu's doing a great job on this Earth Spirit.
These are some nice kicks. Na'Vi fans rejoice. This is a good Earth Spirit. He's ready level 6. He's got
level
the raindrops.
Kaka, is he going to be able to catch Misha here? He's definitely in range, I think, for
Big
the
flight
impale,
full.
but he did not go for it.
Kaka's got a Quelling Blade. He's
Oh, I love this. I love it when non-cores, like, get it on your offlaner, get it on your supports. Make sure you always have a way to cut the trees against this Monkey King. We're trying to set up right now. The spin has already been used by Old Chicken. He's been baited into this. This is the gank that we needed to see from Na'Vi, but they need to actually kill him here. The healing ward is in the trees. They don't actually spot it. He doesn't go for the Omni Slash or anything.
good bait. So this
Really
is
well
where the lack of ward vision, like Keen, I think, correctly assumed like we don't have to spend 100 gold down there, but this is where it can bite you in the butt when Crystallize makes that rotation out. Plus, he got baited hard.
Yeah.
It's just a good setup by Na'Vi. I think they anticipated we won't have vision here. It's just like this is the next level of working around wards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just smart. I love Dota so much.
And at the same time, right, that gank could have been terrible. Like if Old Chicken just played a little bit safer in that situation, that would have been a big rotation and no actual reward.
Part of it is that when you've been unpunished for a certain period of time, like everybody experiences this in Dota, it's such a psychological game in that way where nobody touches you for some time and you think to yourself, oh, the stun
into the jump in, they didn't get it.
All right, see, this is normally how I anticipated the games to look like.
That's the other side of trying to make that gank work, right?
Now you lost top tower.
Yeah.
As a result of this, but it was a cute attempt. It was a really cute attempt. That was adorable.
I mean, that attempt should have been set up better, though, right?
Yeah,
it should have been the rolling boulder as the follow-up, or the silence as the follow-up, instead of trying to get this centaur to run in and stun him.
The centaur from the fog was definitely the lowest. Was the lowest percentage play and all that. But I'm okay with it. At least Navi's trying to make moves.
Yeah, because it does feel like the laning phase is good for Keen, and Keen's just kind of keeping it the way it is.
I love this rotation, by the way, from Old 11. So this bottom tower, hypothetically, like should be the trade for Na'Vi when you usually mirror on Dire side, Dire to Radiant like that. And what they've done instead is they've moved their tankiest hero, the guy that can't die, over here as Dark. Gonna get jumped on. He's gonna get Astral though, and
Are they gonna give up on this kill? No, they're not. They're gonna kick him down.
Chu's been everywhere.
Chu has.
They do lose top tower, which is a bit of a nuisance. He does roll in. This was not the roll in that he was looking for.
That is going to be your first finger
And I just
death
cursed him
upgrade for
so
Kaka.
hard. I was like, man, this guy's sick. And then he just rolls in by himself with like all of his team retreating, and well. Okay, so old 11, look at this. Every single time there's like a free tower to take, he's like, guys, the threat of Ravage is always better than the Ravage itself. Let me tell you, like the threat of Black Hole is better than the Black Hole itself.
Oh no, William, don't use that phrase to me. I've heard that one too many times.
Have you?
Yeah. I mean, it's true though. It's true.
In this game especially, he's just posturing, walking around maps.
And Navi a little bit scared to try and fight this one. And look at old 11 just phase boots through Chu. He actually gets kicked out to the high ground. Crystallized in a good position here if he wants to be able to drop the ultimate, but they still don't feel like they're strong enough to be able to fight King Gaming, especially since that tower's already gone. Navi says to themselves, why do we try and defend this, I guess?
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like, you know, like TI3, TI2 style Tidehunter, where you just run at people and you just never use the Ravage. But the downside is if you never use Ravage, you know, you just always have that threat. You can't avoid it forever. You just have to accept that you can potentially play around it or outplay it. Just letting them get away with everything under the sun isn't good for you either. They're gonna pop the ult.
Navi, they've got to take a fight. They're gonna blow up Kaka almost right away. They do manage to get him. The Winter's Curse is gonna be able to slow down both the Tide as well as the OD. Managed to get the double silence on them. Yi now turns though on Magical, is gonna be able to get away those refractions. Old 11's ulting down with Gush. The Ravage are gonna go down. Manage to finish off the Wyvern. Lock down Magical long enough. No, actually Magical is up the refraction. That means the OD is gonna die. Traded out for Magical. Old 11 trying to stop Crystallized, but he's just gonna get run down underneath the trees. Now Old Chicken, he's trying to make it out as well. But Crystallized nails him with the Balance Strike. He's got the Iron Shell as well to be able to burn down not just this core, but the two supports.
So it's a buyback from Kaka.
Kaka came back for this. It's going to be dieback for him.
Give it to him. Give it to him.
Crystallized and give him the rampage.
Give it to him.
Navi had been letting Keen run this show for 15 minutes, and they finally said enough is enough. Let's take back this game.
You just have to eventually fight around the Ravage. And they have to trust that they can outplay it. If you just allow old 11 to march down these lanes, do whatever he wants, have the threat of the Ravage be alone, you're never going to do anything. You'll get too gun shy. So I love that Navi decided to take that fight. They were like, guys, we have to eventually like say this is enough. Like you just can't be afraid of the Ravage the entire time. They set up that fight beautifully. Crystallized, even though he oftentimes like the carry gets the rampage and he didn't do that much, he was a beast in this fight. He split this fight perfectly.
Just gonna look back at that replay. I mean, great Winter's Curse setup, and then just the quick pickup. That wasn't the greatest Wukong's command, but the Winter's Curse just allows them to be able to quickly put pressure on these heroes. And as you said, like Crystallized did such a great job of like sort of going in and out in a team fight.
Yeah, now this mid-tower defense, this would be pretty huge for them as old 11 marching forward. Blizzy gonna get fingered.
That spin is going to run out soon. Crystallite does manage to get his Jingu stacks turned around. The Boundless Shrine onto Kaka. He'll die again. Old 11 trying to get away. Fortunately, the Healing Ward, as well as that Kraken Shell cleanse, will let Keen Gaming get back here. But they're going to lose their mid-tower as well as their support once again.
I am obsessed with this too. The fact that they're just pushing down towers when Ravage is down, it works both ways. This is where Tidehunter is also weak because you just have to chill. And now old 11, I think, is a little bit more lost. I like that he's going back for the Vlads, but well-played game by Navi.
Yeah.
I thought especially after the laning phase, I thought this should be pretty straightforward, but they're like making plays, they're executing. They lost the mid-tower, but they eventually take it back within a reasonable amount of time. Like they take it pre-20 minutes. The bottom fight that they took as well was really nice of them. Again, at some point, you can't just allow yourself to get like kicked in the dirt by the threat of Ravage. They take advantage of that timing. And they're at least bringing the fight to Keen, which in a roundabout way is like, you know, if Navi wins this game, is like team the best team here? Like, is IX Mike the best support player here at this tournament?
That's why I love casting with you, Blitz. It's your sense of humor.
Thank you.
Blink Dagger is going to be up soon for the TA. We could see how this is definitely turned around quite a bit for Navi. 2 team fights in a row, a bunch of objectives taken, and now we're going to have that full early game threat. And they've got such good combos with the Darkseer. Not necessarily the vacuum combos, but the Ion Shell. They've got so many good Ion Shell heroes. Monkey King, TA, Earth Spirit.
This Cold Embrace is quite nice.
Up against this Jug.
Yeah. You saw that Jug spent so much time trying to kill Misha. Like that Ravage didn't actually do that much.
Yeah.
It didn't kill Magical during that time period. He was still able to kill the OD right after it ended because he had refraction charges going off.
He actually completed the Solar Crest rather than getting the Vlads.
I feel like his team needs the Vlads.
I mean, that's AoE armor aura.
against
Radiant
both
structures
the
are
Monkey King
fortified.
and...
Yeah.
Oh, Blizzy's gonna get spotted out. Wow, this was a grab I did not expect. As he's gonna throw down everything, but all for naught.
I guess I never thought about that before, but now that it's percentage based for the Surge, hexes are better, right? Because it slows you down to a certain point. So now the Surge doesn't do as much. 20-minute bounty runes are coming up. Score is 9-11. And the net worth is pretty much dead even. And you can see the win probability is the same here.
And I could still see Keen winning. This is like a really back and forth game. This is still very 50-50 as reflected in the win probability. We saw Keen take the lead early, Na'Vi battling back, then Keen gets a kill onto the Darkseer.
This fight is going to be massive. They are going to be able to lead off on Kaka once again. He gets silenced up. Winter's Curse onto 3. And look at that. The Enchantress already gone. Same goes with Kaka. He does manage to get off the Finger of Death and kill the Winter Wyvern. But now he's in the river. Nice. They actually managed to stun Crystallize. Looks like his tree got knocked down. The obvious It bounces.
And the bash.
And the bash. Old Chicken. He's got to get out of there. That's why he's going to try and come back and save him.
Roshan's pissed.
He's going to miss the roll in. Tries to slow down the OD. And it looks like, oh, geez, magical. It looks like he managed to blink in and just tear that OD up. Crystallize quickly identifies, gotta deal with that healing ward. And with the buyback going down,
look at you just go
immediately,
ham.
He just turn on a dime and get out of there. What a great showing by Na'Vi.
Dude,
not to overextend.
They're playing so disciplined. We saw in the game where Mineski played against the Pengo, where everyone was a little bit undisciplined. They were just like kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
Na'Vi on a dime, stop, spin move, turn around, go home. You got the OD to buyback for really nothing. There's no objective. There's no Roshan to be had. He just bought back thinking they were going to overextend. You know, Chu says, see you later.
We can see from the odds here on the screen that everyone's kind of agreeing that this is looking like a dead even game here. I mean, it's got to be all about the Roshan at this point, right? It's like Na'Vi is still playing a TA lineup, and in TA lineups,
you do need to get Rosh.
Snowball
That's
up.
why this game is like really crazy, because at this point in the game, Na'Vi should be winning, but you can't really relax. Like if you lose the fight there, there's still a very good chance you lose the game. And Keen can also do Roshan really easily too. They have Gush plus Solar Crest and a Juggernaut. Like they're gonna take that no problem.
Is it too far for me to say that like if you lose one Roshan for Na'Vi, like your chances of winning this game go down significantly?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would heavily agree with that. Good news for them though is I think that the Na'Vi 2 supports are more useful than the 2 supports on Keen.
Yeah.
Like I think the Enchantress right now, the utility that she adds is like incredibly minimal.
Yeah.
This is a 700 HP Deer Lady that like doesn't really deal damage, isn't even really that tanky.
Yeah, I mean, in the laning phase, it looked cool. You're like stopping the Ion Shell combo and stuff, but what have you done for me lately?
Dude, Chu's actually beast in this game right now.
Yeah.
He's really good right now.
Meanwhile, I mean, I don't want to flame Kaka because he's a legend of old, but you look at the comparison of Chu's impact in this game and Kaka, like I'm just watching him be in the front line in every fight and die immediately.
Yeah, it's a lot easier though for, this is the problem with like the Lion Enchantress combo. When you're behind like this, it's very easy to look bad. As Old 11 gonna walk in. Looks like he's gonna go for the Heaven's Halberd. This is gonna be the counter to both Magical and Crystallize. Both teams kind of hanging around as Chu's gonna walk in.
Trying to get out of there. He's gonna be silenced up, but Magical with the double damage is now gonna turn onto the OD. OD does manage to get out the imprisonment, but he's gonna be stuck in no man's land when he comes back out unless he can get that blink away. Still though, Magical, he read him like a book, knew exactly where he was going, catches him on the other side. Now with the Winter's Curse slowing down that Juggernaut as well. Jug gets off the Omni Slash, but there's so many arrows, so many illusions, a refraction as well. He can't do shit for damage. Old Chicken is now gonna try and spin his way out of there, but Magical is always on the hunt. +1. That's a triple kill for him. And let's go back to the Roshan pit.
And you see how that fight gets set up. The Earth Spirit rolls in. They find the angle. They blow up Kaka to begin with. Makes it really hard for them to have any sort of follow-up disable. I mean, Navi's really impressing me right now because, you know, pre-draft, I thought that Keen was going to win. It looked like it was going in that direction. And they're definitely outplaying their lineup.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, this is like, we talked about it on the panel when we casted the matchup against TNC for Na'Vi. It's like this Na'Vi that they showed in that series can go far in this tournament.
Yeah. they didn't even get Ravage off. Like, that was just such a sloppy fight.
Kaka, Hex, TP out, but the wrong bundle.
Chu's always there, man. Look at Chu, he's got Vlads. This guy did not end up going Earn. He just straight up went Vlads for his team. This is a tanky Earth Spirit. 2k HP, 11 armor. They've got a mech on their side too. This is just helping out everyone. Crystallize is mega farmed, as is Magical.
Now a 6,000 net worth lead for Na'Vi. They've got the Aegis, so you know that 6,000 is going to turn into so much more because they can just start, much like the Tidehunter was doing earlier, right? Just march down lanes and take towers because you know the enemy team is too scared to fight you.
Can you go high ground though? That's the question. For Na'Vi right now, I mean, they're giving opportunities to go high ground by just winning fights so far.
Yeah.
But and Keen, they're very disciplined when it comes to holding the high ground. Old 11 on the chase right now. He's right behind Magical.
With this setup of the Invis, oh man, they're just gonna give up 4 bounty runes like that.
Whoa.
That is, I mean, if you're not gonna take that fight, you've got to contest top bounties. Someone's got to do it for you, you know?
Yeah, once he saw the TA with BKB plus Aegis, I think he kind of thought to himself, like, this probably isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Which might be the right call. It's one of those right calls. It feels like a gut check. You know, you get that feeling in your stomach. You're like, I don't like the fact that we had to give this up. And the fact that they're not punishing the split from Na'Vi. And look at this. Look how quickly they formed together right after. They were split for like a minute. And this is always the scariest. When you're split for a minute, you feel like the enemy team is taking advantage of their Aegis by getting more farm. Now they just get together.
Ooh. Trying to spin, he is so fast. He's gonna be good.
You're gonna point out the bounty rune
about how quickly they group back up. Chu didn't even get the other bounty rune.
Yeah,
he got the enemy side, and then he was just like, "I gotta get to my team. No time."
You remember at Katowice when we watched Alliance versus NIP in the groups, and
oh, pulling Boulder on in, Crystallize hits the Boundless Strike right afterwards, and while there is spin available, there is too much physical damage available on the side of Na'Vi. Now Dark. Looks like he's probably going to get caught as well, as that a untouchable is just not going to be good.
Dang. But it reminds me of that game. You remember when NIP and Ace had Aegis, but like he used that Aegis to farm out and they would just catch him?
Yeah.
This is not that kind of Aegis.
Right.
And now because you've just caught 2 heroes outside of the base, which is really rare, I feel like Keen is... They're not anticipating the speed at which Na'Vi is willing to play. Like,
yeah.
This is really, really crisp Dota right now from Na'Vi. They're just making rotations in, they're connecting to each other, they're not being overly greedy, they're playing for the team fights. Smart overall Dota.
Gold 11. He is getting low just from the chip damage. Looks like he's trying to kind of like bait Na'Vi to go in, maybe do a little bit of diving against him. He'll use the Halberd now to protect that melee Rax, but that is now a resource you've used and won't be available. And Magical's not going to slow down. He still has that Aegis for another minute and a half. 11's going to come back in with full HP and start banging on Magical, trying to take away that refraction. He's now going to charge a little bit far forward. Whoa, the Ravage goes down. The rest of the team is now going to jump in. They're going to be able to blow up Misha. They got a support for that who immediately buys back. Old Chicken.
There's just a gem on the ground.
What is going on, man?
They're both... You saw that... Oh, that was funny. Old Chicken saw the gem. He thought about it.
Yeah,
they just had some like old-fashioned standoff where both teams were staring at each other. No one was really willing to make room for the gem at first. It actually ends up being Magical who takes it. He's gonna jump forward.
Kaka, get off the disable. Ooh, he's gonna be imprisoned instead. But now, what a vacuum into the wall on top of the Wukong's command. Crystallize gonna jump in the middle of that. The Winter's Curse. Okay, that's gonna slow down the damage a little bit. That's a little odd.
Set up for the stun instead.
Still set up for a great team fight as the OD gonna try and prison himself and blink away once again. But the Gavalder right on top for Chu, instantly getting that damage. This is gonna be easily a lane of Rags, if not potentially the game right now, as they've got 45 seconds on the clock for the OD. They can just keep going for it.
This ain't that boulder from Indiana Jones.
It doesn't miss.
It doesn't miss.
It doesn't.
This one hits its target. So gonna go on to Old 11, who's just trying to buy time. He's got to abuse his tankiness at the very least. But the jump in.
Oh, vacuums back. The two of them. Kaka
just can't live.
Once again, I mean, yeah, like, you know, Old 11 is just trying to slow things down.
They can just ignore him.
Yeah.
He hits like kittens, and you know, you can just walk forward and anchor like that, but it doesn't actually dissuade them. And they're gonna get a full 2 sets at 28 minutes. Very good so far for Na'Vi. 14k up. They are gonna lose the Aegis, but This was a very disciplined use of it. And this is a very different Na'Vi than the one we saw on day one.
Yeah, for sure. Look at that, third item, Scotty, for the Monkey King. So he's going to just stat up, add a lot of team fight to his Wukong's command as well. I mean, they've already got such a sick, like, vacuum wall Wukong's command combo. The double slows of both the wall as well as the Scotty is going to do a lot of work.
There's still a bounty rune. Maybe if
maybe somebody
gets
can
that
get
top
double
one.
bounties.
Dude, don't underrate that. That's like 200 gold.
Yeah. Go for it, OT.
Come on.
Get to that position early.
Blink to the right. Just guess.
Just you know.
That's like
set up for
200
it.
gold for your team that you're not. Oh, look at this. Old Chicken's going to run into it.
Old Chicken's
This is
like,
godlike.
wait a minute.
Dude, it's percolated too. That's a high value. The max number that the gold could have gone up. That's called investment, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at that. For a brief moment, Blitz, the 15,000 net worth went down to 14,000.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh, look, it's back to 14,000 again.
Dude, this is, you know, leads aren't, the thing about it is like, you can't just expect 10,000 neat lead changes at a time. It's, you know, it starts with that 1K at a time. You got to chip away at it.
It's like losing weight. You just gotta
Do it bit by bit.
little incremental gains. A double damage for the OD. Not really the person I expected to pick up the DD. Kind of thought they'd give it to Old Chicken, but they're gonna try and 4-man push out. Disguising this smoke just a little bit with the Juggernaut still pushing mid, but he's gonna have to try and make a fast rotation up to top lane. There's going to be everybody here. That smoke has already popped. Kaka's going to be spotted. Crystallize just jump forward and pop the BKB. He knows any kind of fight is going to be a good one at this point as long as they don't get jumped on first. The Winter's Curse on the OT. They immediately follow up with a Boundless Strike. Even if it doesn't do the damage, it's the stun that they needed there just to be able to lock him down. I'll just leave Old 11 for last. You can see Crystallize not even bothering to go for him. He does get knocked down out of the trees. The Omni Slash is going to go down, but it just doesn't stay on one person, and that just means a limited amount of damage. The OD who bought back into this almost immediately dies. And Old Chicken, same goes with Old 11, man. They just do no damage whatsoever in these fights, and that's why Keen is going to call it.
Let's just click Chew. See that he's got Vlad's, almost a Crimson Guard, a Bracer. This guy was an absolute beast.
3-2 and 18.
Yeah, made his core's life
at the end.
real easy to play Dota. Made everyone's life real easy to play Dota. So well done. That's the kind of 4-position play that you need to win a tournament like this.
What a sick showing from Na'Vi, especially after like that rough start. They didn't get like this big laning phase lead. It's not like they managed to get the Earthspear Darkseer to just go off in lane or the Monkey King like just shut down the tide or anything. They came back to the way they structured through their team fights.
Yes. I love teams like that too. It's like, I feel like inconsistent teams anyways, like sometimes I'll be hard on a team because like they, you know, they're winning a game, but they're, like it's not sustainable because, you know, they'll choose a win by just winning laning phase. Right. But like team fights are really where you get a sense of where a team's at. And when it came to the team fights, Na'Vi was pitch perfect. As we are going to throw it over to the panel for their analysis.
Thank you very much. Blitz and Cap, of course, we'll come back to our commentary pair for game number 2. But game 1, going the way of the boys in yellow. Born to win the first game, that's for sure. One up. I'm a little surprised. I know that you guys kind of called that. The predictions were perfect, by the way.
Your prediction? You matched my prediction.
I kind of went with
the dragon.
I kind of went with the dragons.
Yeah,
and
it went to Wyvern. It was the big game changer, but I think it was more the
Enchantress.
Really. It was more the Enchantress. Like it
sucked. You're saying the Enchantress sucked, and that's why they lost.
Yes.
I don't think it was just Enchant. I think the Na'Vi got the best dual pairing that they could. They got Darkseer and Earthspirit. They did a fantastic job using like the Helm of the Dominator. That was like the most value Helm of the Dominator game I've seen. And that's partially because it comboed so well with like the Wyvern ulti. They could do Centaur Stomps, they could do Surge with Iron Shell. Like all 5 of their heroes just fit so well together. Iron Shell on any of their heroes, except for Wyvern, was great. Both Monkey King and TA, despite having slightly above average range, those early like Iron Shell fights are insane in comparison, whereas normal it's like, okay, whatever, like Monkey's in my face, it's pretty annoying, he's gonna kill one guy. But when he has Iron Shell, everybody's dying faster. Same for TA. So I just feel like their whole lineup just hit this mid-game timing that was really overpowering. And while the laning stage didn't go amazing for Na'Vi, it's like once the fight started mid to late game, it just wasn't really a battle.
I'm pleasantly surprised, obviously, because it means I think we get a very competitive series now. And I think we were all in agreement backstage before the show started today that actually of the two semi-final upper bracket matches, this might be the most one-sided. Kevin, you were quite bullish on Na'Vi though this morning when we started the show.
In what way? Saying that they were going to be worse?
No, in bullish, in the sense that you thought they maybe could get something out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're good players. Anybody sleeping on Na'Vi right now against other Tier 2 teams, I think is unfair. Against Tier 1 teams, I think Navi's not going to do very well, of course, but Keen hasn't necessarily proven themselves to be there yet, and I think their picks were just a little bit weird. I do agree the Enchantress was, as an opening, it seemed like I mean, it wasn't an opening really. They saw Darkseer and they thought, all right, Enchantress, here's our strat. And this is something they had prepared. It just didn't really work. I didn't get to super detailed watch how it did in the lane stage, but it felt just okay.
Weak. And the thing is, like, why first pick it as well, right? That's like a really high value thing. The Nyx was banned out. They themselves have a 100% win rate on the Darkseer, and then they just go and let Na'Vi pick it when Blizzy plays a really strong Darkseer, and then they can have that combination of the Darkseer Earth Spirit that's just able to dominate the lane. Like, it turns a farming lane into a bit more of a kill lane for them. Obviously not the same way as an Ursa or something like that, but it does add that different layer of threat onto things.
Jug offsets it at least, but I agree.
Yeah, and then I feel like Misha played the Wyvern very well. Not just getting these great setups. I think there were a couple of 3-man curses. Then you've obviously got the Centaur that can stomp at the end of it to kind of, increase the duration of the stun. Obviously, you can't do any damage to everyone else outside of that. But even when it wasn't like this big 5-man curse, it was the single curses on like a spinning Juggernaut or on a OD with double damage. You just want to take them out of the fight for 5 seconds, and that was when they were just able to isolate the rest of the 4 and just burst them down.
They just had so many better area control things. They had Winter's Curse for a big AoE. They have a Vacuum Wall. They have Monkey King Ultimate. Even like Earth Spirit Ultimate. It's like they have so much stuff that is just good team fight things.
Yeah.
And yes, Keen had a Tide Ravage. I don't think we saw one good Ravage all game.
That was one. There was one towards the end.
I mean, it hit a lot of people, but what
didn't do anything.
Yeah,
and they had no follow-up, did they? So
when you ravage the whole team, you need to like use that opportunity when they're not stunned to like burst down one or two.
But my point is it wasn't 11's fault.
I don't think
he did what he needed to do at that point.
He did what he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was definitely up front trying to contest what his opponents were doing, but it could only do so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough to come back after such a great start.
Absolutely.
And it's a great start for us in terms of the series as well. I think you were with me, weren't you, on the whole Keen looked like the best team so far. But Kevin, I think you made a great point. It's hard to judge a team over four games, especially when 2 of those are against Signify. Yeah,
and I think opening up like this against a team that might do something weird, not that this was anything that weird for Na'Vi.
Wasn't out there.
It can catch you off guard. So they'll have to realize, okay, maybe Enchant isn't gonna win this lane as well as we think it is. They'll have to go for something more standard. Maybe Jug, the vulnerability there is that yes, he lanes well against Darkseer, but that's about like he doesn't get kills. He doesn't set tempo very well outside of Omni Slash. And based on the order that they pick Jug and the order that their opponents pick their cores, they easily had so much time to be like, all right, let's just pick cores that don't care that much about Omni Slash. And both TA and Monkey King fulfilled that pretty well.
Yeah, played very well indeed. Thank you very much, gents. Time for a quick break here at ESL One Mumbai. Don't go too far away. Game 2 just around the corner. Na'Vi find themselves 1 game away from an upper bracket final appearance at an ESL One. Can they do it? We'll find out shortly.
Give it to him, Crystallize, and give him the rampage. Give it to him. Na'Vi. Nice. They actually managed to stun Crystallize. Looks like his tree got knocked out. The obviously.